Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Ballin' the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Slossin' that soldier race. Niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings. Make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks. Make you explode the face. Now you official now. But you got a soul to save. I just been cooking that new. I'm about to drop in the few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game. Now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose.
No, wanna count on you, but I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all. You, but my money real, that you do. Oh yeah, so I don't do this shit for nothing. No, not at all. Oh, I told her I
like I never left. Stand for some shit that you never read. Passing through stages in life, through the ups and the downs, like it's all just another test. Live by the rules like a fucking ref. I got respect in 100 sets. Too many chains need another chest. Playing no games if it wasn't chess. Cut from that cloth that you couldn't stretch. Cut from that circle you couldn't test. Heavily pressured and under stress, even though niggas ain't sure it was a mess. Honest attempt playing to the left. Judge a young nigga by their address. Left is no option, what they expect. Only thing we knew for sure is the bang the set. Fuck living basic, I'm taking risks. Fuck what they saying, I'm saying this. Don't waste your testament, don't make you rich. It don't mean nothing, so fuck them, let's make a grip. Double up, triple up, make assist. Ballin' so hard you can pay a bitch. Link to the lake if they wanna fish. Make sure them niggas around you stick to the script.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Cool, cool, cool. We should be good. Let's see here. Yep, we're good, we're good. Cool. So, as always, a little recap from Friday. Alright, we end up retracing back to that same fair value gap and respecting that, the original entry that we had laid out, right? This was something I was watching on the 2nd AM macro, right? Getting a shift inside that very similar area where we were watching that first shift in market structure here, right? Ended up getting purged through, but look at where price ended up respecting, right? If we drag this out a little further, our same entry, right, that we had posted up right here after we came below this candle right here that we're waiting for, right? So just taking note of that, right, that we revisited the entry right above this wick here and here, respecting that fair value gap still, that same one we were watching in the morning in the AM session, and we just retraced back and respected it later on in the second half of the AM session. And what was our target that we're looking for, right? First low-hanging fruit would be, you know, something like this or a single low like this, right? But overall, what we're trying to get to, that I said we would purchase to, that we haven't revisited, right? That NFP low, that initial move from NFP. Look at where we closed out on Friday, right there. Look at that, a few minutes before the close, right? End up purchasing that single low, relatively equal lows, right, from NFP. And this is from the New York Stock Exchange Open. Boom, right there. Then we have a new week opening gap lower, right? And we're currently right here. But let's start back up on the weekly since it is Monday. We got a lot of news going on this week, right? There should be a lot of volatility. Probably some good amount of manual intervention too. So kind of just laying out the lay of the land. Right, as for this week's candle, we do have relatively equal lows here. Right. Possible imbalance being formed here on the weekly. But if we check on the daily, right, we have that SIBI that we could trade up to, and then we could trade down to. So a couple ideas here. Right, we could expand higher to then expand lower to get a down close candle like last week. Right, and close down here. Or price raids these relatively equal lows, then we get that shift in market structure higher. Right, so if we look at the daily here, what am I thinking? Right, what do I prefer? Right, if we look at this whole entire leg up right here, equilibrium is here. We have some good sell side here, relatively equal lows, right? And then we have this imbalance down here. Just on the timing of like seeing how November plays out, right? If we're expecting a bullish month, right, we're gonna expect the first half of the month to be bearish, right? So I'm thinking that we come up to here, this daily imbalance up here, sometime, you know, in the first half of this week, Monday through Wednesday, we trade up into this daily imbalance here, right? Because we displace below the single low here. We trade up into this daily imbalance, and then we start displacing to the downside, purging these relatively equal lows, right? The sell side underneath these relatively equal lows, right? And possibly, if we want to be efficient, trading down into this imbalance right here, this daily busy, right? It's below equilibrium, and it's an inefficiency, right? So that would be a good possible turning point between this imbalance, right, and this imbalance here, right? We have two imbalances right on top of each other, so that could be a possible aim and draw towards. That is what I prefer, right? That we trade up into this daily SIBI, then we start displacing lower, purging the sell side liquidity underneath these relatively equal lows, as well as these relatively equal lows, trading below equilibrium, entering a discount array like these two daily busies, and then getting that shift to market structure maybe mid-November, right? And then start trading higher, right? That's what I'm kind of thinking. Dropping down to the 4-hour. Not too much price action to go off of. All right, we have that new week opening gap, as you can see here. Single high. That was where we shorted on Friday. We were watching those shorts on Friday. And let's take this off. Dropping down to the 1 hour. 1 hour just wicked down and purged some liquidity from Friday's low. I got about 15 minutes left in that candle. But other than that, not really too much price action to go off of. Right, we have relatively equal highs here, right, which is our sell side liquidity. Let me make sure that we have these documented. Yeah, those are documented, so we could delete some of this, clean this up a little bit, clean that up. Cool. Right, what I'm watching here is those relatively equal highs. When we're ready, right, that's buy side liquidity right here. But what I'm thinking, right, we draw higher to draw lower, right? Because these relatively equal lows down here, the sell side liquidity marked right here, those are those daily relatively equal lows here, right? So that is a very clean draw. So we need to enter a premium somewhere in order to catch the move to get down there. So I'm not really interested in longs, right? I prefer the shorts. So maybe we can get above these relative equal highs, get that shift in market structure, right? Aiming for lower prices. But let's drop down to the 15-minute and check that out as well, right? We're looking for single highs inside imbalances that could be targets, right? That one completely fills it in, so it's not as obvious, but nonetheless, it is relatively equal with London's high. You know, so, and somehow working our way up into a premium area, right? That would be above those relative equal highs here. And then looking for the shorts from there, right? But the way prices looking just within this AM session, we'll see if we can get up there. It's not ruled out, right? But I want to see it be efficient when it trades above these highs here, right? You don't want to see that clean displacement, right? Because then it could be very bullish, right? We just purchased some buy side liquidity, so we might have to wait a little bit longer if we do get that. But right, aiming for these relatively equal highs to get purged, and then seeing what price does after that. See if we get that bear shift in market structure, or if we keep trading up higher, want to purge this liquidity up here as well as up here, because that daily imbalance. Let's mark up that daily imbalance here. That is where we want to see a reversal during the first half of this week. Somewhere, right? Somewhere up there, which is right above this single high up here. So we could, right? We could just turn bullish for a little bit. What is this? Yes. So we'll just be patient, right? That is the main thing. We kind of see how the sequence of things go as well, right? If we get that displacement above here, above the short-term high here, and we live with that fair value gap, and we haven't purged these relative equal highs yet, right? We could look for that second shift in market structure and ride it to a short-term terminus, right? Some low-hanging fruit, which would be these relative equal highs, right? Or price can just get here real quick and be efficient, right? And be above these relative equal highs, and then we can get that shift in market structure, right? But I prefer, I mean, to catch the biggest short of the week would be catching something within this daily imbalance up here. That would be ideal. Well, let's see if we can get some opportunities before we get up there, right? That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Still haven't shifted bullish on the lower time frames yet after purging Friday's low, right? It's actually this week's low. Yeah, the opening price of this week. It also purged Friday's low here. Got into that first hand macro session. Right before we do that, let me knock something out real quick. BRB.
gun jammed and they released. Blood on your teeth. How many stains? I see 3. The bitch started to panic, so I made her switch seats. Driving there, police chopper here flying there. Really not too spooked, comedy asked me, am I dying now? All I know is keep you calm and collected. Cracking jokes like, nigga, now you gon' be finally respected. See your blood leaking, got my foot on his gas. Toss the 40, we pull up to Daniel Free and see crash. You know the alibi, they start shooting, we was standing by. Ain't see nothing but flare from the talents fly. I wasn't there, I was passing by. Matter of fact, don't say shit, I'm just gonna drop you in the back and slide. That's your weed, all the cash is mine. I take them both to the spot, plus your phone till you back online.
Yeah, I'm tryna go down, down as a grave. Every night I get on my knees and pray that I will go down. Yeah, I will go down. Yeah.
Legendary moves, leader of my crew. Heavy is the head that wear the crown, that shit true. Do it like Nip Hustle, that's to fill some big shoes. And what good is excuses when the fucking Bristol? Smoking all this Indo. Run away from my pain, rosemary on my temples. Heard that's good for migraines. Solo in my benzo. Exit off the highway. Solitary thoughts like how to reinvest my side chain.
I'm tryna go down, down as a grave. Every night I get on my knees and pray that I will go down. Yeah, that I will go down. Yeah, I'm tryna go down, down as a lich. Every night I aim, God for the bliss. That I will go down. Yeah, I will go down. Yeah.
Nah, so many niggas doing time. Who are you and I? To play with it, it's a blessing, so reach for the sky. Pick up Shady off the block and we'll smoke and drive. Politicking on the block to make it multiply. Keep some bitches on the team from the other side. Keep at least a pound of green, motherfucking right. 30 hours in the spot, going overtime. Then we pull up to the Fox and don't hold it down. You know this life, it got a cold design. How you go from me, lobster tail to the ocean prime? The chain to a smoker and thrown on the line. But when them gates close, keep an open mind. It ain't no force in this world like a focused drive. You gotta focus on yourself like an only child. You make your dream realer and you make your team better. You wake your game up and you make your scheme better.
They say this time, won't be like the last time, But this time, I'ma do it like my last time. I'ma go.
All right, so kind of just notice how we traded above here, or we traded up to this. Let me say that again. We traded up to this short-term high here, but look at, we made relatively equal highs. Right, so we haven't had that shift in market structure just yet, and now we're trading back down into this imbalance. Completely filled it in, right, to the tick right here. So we'll see if we get that bullish shift in market structure. But this is kind of telling me we're building buy-side liquidity for sure, but it might be resistant to a shift in market structure, right? Because if we did come one tick above that, that would be a shift in market structure, but we haven't done that quite yet. So we just gotta stay patient. Right, in relation to the open, right, we are far below the open. If we're looking for eventually for us to take these first couple of days of the week, first few days of the week, to trade up into this daily imbalance up here, right, this daily SIBI. Right, so that's where we're kind of, that's our roadmap to kind of get up there. So now we're just being patient and waiting for price to show us its hand. I don't think I have a daily busy yet. Or daily SIBI actually.
My granny 88, she had my uncle in there. A miscarriage back to back every year for like 10. Pregnant with my mom, doctor told her it was slim.
All right, let's see how that hourly candle's about to close. Okay. Overlapping with that daily imbalance, right? We have a nice little volume imbalance right there, which is at new day opening gap. Right, got this buy side liquidity as well as this buy side liquidity. You know, so we have a decent amount of buy side liquidity we can aim for once price wants to tilt its hand that it wants to go higher. Right, we could purge that buy side liquidity, right? That volume imbalance is right above this daily SIBI, right? And then work our way down to those relatively equal lows. But those relatively equal lows have been resting there for quite some time, so you know, eventually want to aim and target those relatively equal lows down there. It's just getting the right order flow, right? Trading up into a premium, then we can start targeting those relatively equal lows. See on that 5 minute, how we just filled in that imbalance right there? Candles respecting it. So we might be just respecting order flow, right? We gotta wait till we get that indication that we want to go higher, right? Preferably looking for a close above the short-term high, but at least trading above it. Right, also check out, right, the thumbnails got changed, right, on the channel, right? We're just in the regular live streams now, right? Since I kind of just left that entire series build up, counting all the days, right? And then right when we met our goal of 300,000 in funding, then I switched it over to the regular just trading live thumbnails, so then we can get everything in the same place, nice and organized. And what I'll also do in combination with that is I'll add all that entire series, those 148 days, I'll add that into a playlist and then add that to the channel. Yeah, so I'll add that playlist. We'll get that going, and then yeah, I'll be organized in one spot. Right, so we're just kind of waiting to get above that short-term high. But let me add these to a separate playlist, so then it'll be easier to find the whole entire documented series.
Running shoot pro, 458 drop, playing bulletproof soul. Every few shows, I just buy some new gold. Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. Downtown Diamond District, jewelers like yo. Hustle, holla at me, I got Cubans on the low. Through the Cancun, smoking Cubans on the boat. Then dock that Tulum just to smoke. Look, listening to music at the Mayan ruins. True devotion on the bluest ocean. Cruising, my cultural influence, even revolution. I'm integrated vertically, y'all niggas blew it. They tell me hustle, dumb it down, you might confuse them. This ain't that weirdo rap you motherfuckers used to.
So there we go. Finally trading above that short-term high here. All right, so let's see if we get a... We're tracing back into this fair value gap, right? This 5-minute fair value gap here. And then we can get that shift in market structure higher inside of there. We'll have to wait and see for that. But now that we finally traded above that single high here, right, constitutes a shift in market structure. Right, we got a strong closure on this candle as well. Wicked up, traded above that short-term high here. So now let's see if we kind of retrace back into here. Retrace back into this 5-minute busy. And then we get a shift in market structure higher. If not, I'll just be waiting I'll be waiting for us to get above these relatively equal highs here, right? Which is inside this nice little 5-minute SIBI. Okay, let's go. They've all been added, so now there's a playlist of that entire series, literally going from $0 in funding to over $300,000 in prop firm funding. Right, so you can check out that whole entire playlist, public on the channel. Journey to 300K in prop firm funding in 148 days. Right, so be sure to check out that playlist. Very cool to have documented that entire series, right? And now we're just, now we're still building up the funding, as well as getting more and looking for that payout by the end of the year. Definitely achievable in my eyes. We can definitely get there by the end of the year. Yeah, we could definitely get there by the end of the year. Right, it's just being super patient, right? Knowing when the market conditions are favorable and when they're not. Right, that's probably... one of the more crucial things, right? Knowing when to push heavy and when not to push heavy. And just given what we have going on this week, right? It's not... I don't think it's optimal to be pushing real hard. Right, we have president elections tomorrow, right? Plus, we have FOMC dropping on Thursday. So we got some heavy hitters laying down this week. Right, we have 10 a.m. news tomorrow, 8:30 news on Thursday. Right, then we got the Fed funds rate 2 p.m. FOMC press 2:30, and then an orange folder at 10 a.m. on Friday. All right, so that should be exciting. Exciting for sure.
Every time a nigga drop, it's real as fuck, huh? Every time you hit the road, you fill 'em up, huh? Whole city know that you became the one, huh? They seen it from the jump, huh? The pressure weigh a ton, huh? Especially where you come from. Every night, heavy price, but it's just the cloth you cut from. It's alright, it's just life if you want one. Learn to hold yourself down with a big gun. All these niggas playing tough, you gon' chip one. For these dollars a decade, you a risk one. Fuck it though, cause when you flat broke, you ain't nothing, bro. Seen a gang of rich niggas get comfortable. Then looking at they watch like where the fuck.
All right, we're still in that first AM macro here. We got about 5 minutes left. Right, no shift in market structure on the smaller time frame, making it just very efficient price action. Right, so maybe we could just come up here very efficiently, purchase those relative equal highs, and then aim for either some inefficiencies or some liquidity built up within this leg. Right, that gets us above these relative equal highs up here. All right, that's what we're kind of looking at. Right, we haven't shifted market structure on the smaller time frames just yet. Pretty efficient price action. All right, so now it's just being patient, waiting for price to get above these relative equal highs and taking it from there. Right, in regards to the leaderboard, right, in the standings, I want to say it's up to date. Right, it is up to date, except maybe, yeah, the Darwin account's a little bit different than that. Let me see here.
Fuck where your hoes at, or where your rolls at, where your backbone, nigga, where your code at, where your down since day one real bros at, where them stories that you telling unfold at, where your heart, nigga, where your soul at, we got old school ways we expose at, ain't no guarantees, but you know that, niggas die every day, can't control that, King Griffey throwback, nigga had to go left, musta popped 28 times cause it's 4 left, if it's about mine, ain't a nigga that I won't check, run through your hardest homeboy, you could go next, 85 cut dog, hustle at the Rolex, chain on my white tee, now you see the progress, stacked every chip on myself, time to collect, all money in, just imagine what I gross back, fuck where your hoes at, or where your rolls at.
Right, so just being patient, right, I think that is a huge edge within itself, right, just being able to sit, watch price do its thing, right, not pushing super hard, right, not jumping in, being eager to put on some setups just because price is moving. Right, patience pays, patience pays. Right, if we could find one solid setup this week, 2 solid setups, I mean, that's all you need, really. 1 to 2 solid setups and that is a good week, right? That is a good week. And that's what I'm kind of aiming for right now, just given the risk parameters that I have and how much we risk per setup, right, on the $50,000 accounts. If we catch 2 good setups, right, that is 2%, which is more than enough, right? More than enough for 1 week, only risking 0.5% per setup, right? That's 2%, which is $1,000 per account. That is I'm good with that, right? There's just like little stepping stones, right, that we gotta hit first before we start aiming for these, you know, double digit months. Right, let's just hit some base hits first. Get used to hitting some base hits, you know, which is a couple trades a week, 1 maybe 2 good setups a week, and then just stopping, right? Stopping, get our couple hits, and then just stop for the week. Come back the next week. All right, we can still read those other days, but just securing those 2 solid setups a week, I mean, how could you ask for more? That is fuego. Being able to catch, you know, $1,000 per account per week, we'll take that all day. All day. We'll take that all day. Let's see if we get a little retracement back into somewhere in this area, right? We have a bunch of 1 minute inefficiencies down here that we could possibly trade to, right? Some relatively equal lows, right? Just looking for that smaller time frame shift in market structure, right? We can aim for these relatively equal highs up here, right? So if we get any retracement down there, yeah, we have more than enough room to get up to these relatively equal highs. Most definitely. Just getting that right order flow going, right where it tilts its hand where it wants to go higher. That is what we gotta wait for. You know, in order for it to be a 15-minute shift in market structure, I would like us to come above this high right here, right? Get above this high, trade above this high, right? Possibly this high as well. A little short-term 15-minute high, but this one is clean, right? Nice candle up, nice candle down, short-term high. That's looking pretty solid. Right, we got some good stuff brewing. I got some good stuff brewing. That's coming up. Right, we're gonna make some slight little changes, for the better. Right, documenting everything along the way. Right, cause let's say I start making some little minor adjustments. Right, within taking partials now. Right, splitting that up, splitting up my exits. Right, because we watch price, like how we're watching price up here. It goes to multiple different targets, right? First taking out this short-term low, then aiming for those NFP lows, right? That is far beyond 10 handles, right? If we're looking, that entry was somewhere right around here. 10 handles is right there out of this entire move on the day. If we take 80% off here and leave 1 micro contract for here, 1 micro contract for here, you know, I feel like it would be advantageous for us to do that, right? Especially when I'm already aiming for those areas to be hit. Who cares if they come back and stops us out, right? You took 80% off anyways, right? So it's almost like the full pool 10 handles. We're just leaving 20% of the trade to possibly hit other targets, which I think would be advantageous for the whole plan, right? It's like a little stepping achievement going higher, right? In essence, getting rid of the training wheels, right? Just growing, right? That's the way I kind of see it as, right? Going from full pulls at 10 handles to taking 80% off, and then leaving 2 micros to hit further targets. You know, now that we've experienced so many 10 handle runs repetitively, boom, 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 getting used to those and seeing how easily price can purge those 10 handle runs, right? We've done that consistently for over a year now. I think I've earned the right to leave 20% off to hit some other targets that we're aiming for, you know. So we'll be switching, I'll let you know when, but we'll be switching from the E mini contract here. We'll be switching from the E mini to the micros again. We'll be doing 10 micros. We'll be taking on the same risk, right? 0.5%, 10 micros, but now we're just gonna be taking partials. Yes, the fees are gonna be a little bit more, but in reference to the possible extra handles being captured, right? Those fees are very minimal, just like the cost of doing business, right? It's just some little overhead that we're gonna have to take on, but it's very little overhead for the possibility of, or the opportunity to capture, right, liquidity at our further targets. Right, it's going to require a little bit more active management on my end, but that is completely fine. Right, we're about 13 minutes from the 10:30 turn here. We might just be sitting on the hands, which is completely fine, right? Waiting for a little bit more clean price action. All right, but let's see what this 10:30 turn brings us. Be looking for a little bit deeper retracement than this guy here, right? Be looking to get that in a discount, not such of a premium, right? That's barely 20% of the range, right? We're looking for something below right here in the discount for that shift in market structure. Right, so we got some cool things coming up. Right, being able to go for partials. Right, kind of want to be also possibly expanding the 10 handle runs, or the 5 handle, excuse me, 5 handle stop loss to maximum 10 handles, but once it's more than 5, just doing half risk, right? That would be kind of branching off into wider range setups on the day, just permitting those, right? Allowing permission to take those. If it's doing the same exact thing that it would be doing with the 5 handle stop loss, it's just a little bit outside of that, you know, that's something I'd be comfortable taking at half risk, you know. That's, I feel like, is a good way of branching into taking wider liquidity days, taking those same exact setups, but at half risk. You know, that's kind of just branching out, kind of dipping our toes into those wider range setups that are doing the same exact thing. It just has like a 7 handle stop loss or something like that. You know, I'd be willing to take those at half risk. That is taking a lot of the risk off the table, but being able to still have exposure to those larger handle runs. Right, so I think that would be advantageous for the whole model, the whole plan in general. A small little fair value gap right there. But just staying patient. I can see us getting up here pretty quick, relatively, right? We have relatively equal highs on the 1 minute here, but it's looking like it wants to purge for or draw towards those relatively equal highs from London session as well as PM session on Friday. Looking good. But it's a couple of things like that that I'm looking to kind of explore and document, right? How partials are going into next year, as well as, you know, kind of having like more of a stricter goal within, you know, minimum finding one good setup a week, right? One good setup a week. We see some really good setups. And just kind of being a little bit more discretionary with it. You know, the more time you spend on the charts, the more stuff that you start to see that repeats. You know, it's even within the same model, it just looks slightly different. You know, so it's like taking those setups and being okay with whatever outcome. You know, I think I'm a little strict with how it looks, right? Because I don't want to take losses, but in combination with that, it's like I call it finger on the pulse. It's like we're right on where price is gonna go. It's just catching it as it's going up there, you know. And we have the finger on the pulse a lot, but it just might look slightly different, and I might be a little bit more reluctant to taking it. But if it's doing the same thing that we've been watching, right, should execute without any hesitation. Right, because we have in those conditions, right, we have a high level of confidence of where price is going. It's just catching it in that direction, right? So I feel like if you just document the whole entire progress of what you're adding on, you can't lose, right? You can't lose, because you'll be tracking the progress of adding these new things into your plan, right? And then you can make a more informed decision once you get more data and you're executing based on that plan. Then you can make a decision, you know, in like 6 months and see how it's going, right? Is it advantageous for us to be doing that, or is it not, just based on the data? So I'll be adding metrics to the Notion in order to track how these new adjustments to the trading plan are doing. Right. I'll be tracking all that data, so then we can make a more informed decision, maybe around June of next year. You know, do 6 months of it. Maybe even dabble a little bit this month, right? Just got to get everything situated this month, next month, get about 8 months of data. You know, we can make a more informed decision in June, April to June. You know, we're getting that good expansion to the upside now. Very nice. Very nice. We had a small little tiny fair value gap here. Right. just stayed around that 20% retracement, right? Didn't really get a deep retracement in there. Now we're getting that expansion to the upside. Very nice. Coming up on that 10:30 turn here in about 5 minutes. So we should be able to get up to these relatively equal heights up here. And then we'll kind of take it from there. Yeah. That's the way I kind of see it, right? Making adjustments to the plan, to the whole trading plan, model, business. Just making some slight adjustments and just tracking them. Right? Tracking the whole progress. Creating some KPIs in order to track those changes, to see how those changes look, right? To see how they do. And we can kind of just take it from there, right? We can make a better, more informed decision once we have more data on it. So that is pretty exciting. Right? And we're trying new things. Of course, it invites more possible failures and learning experiences along the way. And that honestly is completely fine. Right? That's how we're going to learn. That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to get better. Because right now I'm trying to avoid those setbacks as much as I can. But I feel like that's also being restrictive on growth. Right? It's like kind of being like a little overprotective. I feel like I've been doing that. I've been protecting myself for a very long time from inviting opportunities that could possibly be not good. Right? But now I feel like we've not mastered this little 5-handle, 10-handle runs. But looking for just more growth. So I think this is it's an appropriate time to expand outside of our model, being a little bit more discretionary, but I think that is rightfully earned. I think it's earned after doing something very consistently for, so long.
How you doing, baby? Don't skip nothing. No, play this. This the best album in the world, baby. Very peaceful.
So we purged those relatively equal highs that were right at the open. Very nice. We came about 5 handles shy of these relatively equal highs from London session. Right, so we should be able to get up there within this 10:30 turn here. And then we'll kind of see what the second AM macro, where price is at. Kind of go from there. We also have some lunch highs up in here that we could be aiming for, as well as that single high inside this imbalance, right? Looks like we're building up some more buy side liquidity, right? Stopping right below stopping right below this short-term high here. Right, we did trade above our short-term highs here. Very nice. Not leaving any imbalances behind, right? At least on the 15-minute, as well as the 5-minute, right? Not leaving any imbalances untraded to, right? Even this imbalance that we had here, this candle completely closed that in, made that efficient to the tick. And so, you know, it looks like we're pretty efficient moving up into these relative equal highs up here. Right, slowly working our way up, drawing towards these relative equal highs here. Slowly but surely. Right, we're just past that 10:30 turn. Coming up on that 2nd AM macro here in about 20 minutes. Right, completely traded back down into this new week opening gap, right? Purging that single low from Sunday, right at the open, just past the open. Right, we're building up some more buy side liquidity here between this high and this high. Small little volume imbalance here that we could trade to. Right, but other than that, not looking at too much. We have some red folder 10 AM news tomorrow, so that should be juicy. Just trade it back down to that volume imbalance right there. Let's see if the candle bodies respect that.
Grab an A for the perk, fresh white t-shirt. Bama bitch, nigga in the 415, that's a problem. Got a bitch in the A, hella bad, and she thick, and she make a real good peach cobbler. Got her trapping in the city, San Bruno Bay Hill. First game, so I treat her like a starter. Got her first Louis bag, now the bitch going hard, now the hoe riding round in Maserati. 4 deep, ayy, 4 deep, no sleep, nigga. 4 deep, no, 4 deep, ayy, 4 deep, no sleep, nigga. 4 deep, no, 4 deep, ayy, 4 deep, no sleep, nigga. 4 deep, no, 4 deep, ayy, 4 deep, no sleep, nigga. 4 deep, no. I gotta chill lately, I've been going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the Porsches and shit.
Right, nothing too crazy going on here.
Might grab that. Cause it's really nothing to a hustler, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right, we got the elections going on tomorrow, so that should be pretty exciting. We got I would assume some good volatility incoming for sure based off of that, and post elections as well, right? More certainty and such for the future, so there should be some, probably I would assume, some pretty wide ranges the next few days, right? In combination with the FOMC on Thursday, we should have some very interesting volatility coming our way. All right, but that's about it for this AM session that we have going on here. All right, nothing too crazy. We'll check back in tomorrow. See how price reacts above these relative equal highs here that we have. And get ready for tomorrow, right? Pretty exciting day, and yeah, should be a good one. With that being said, appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, hope everybody had a good weekend and all rested up and ready to go for a very exciting week this week. With that being said, appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the morning tomorrow. Peace out.